You're listening to Girl, Don't Trip. Kick back with us weekly as we have soulful conversations about balancing career, relationships, and how to stay grounded through life's wild transitions.
Because we could all use a little support from our sister circle. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Girl Don't Trip Radio.
Let's do this.
Hey girl.
Hey.
Welcome to episode 1.
Episode number 1. This is really wild.
Yeah. You're listening to Girl Don't Trip with Bianca
And Gabby.
And today we're just going to kind of introduce ourselves and introduce how the podcast came about.
Yeah, give a little background because we are two random girls that you probably don't know. And now we are like talking.
We're talking. We're talking to everyone, and we want to be able to make a difference for other women specifically, and we want to create something that is inspirational and basically, makes a difference in the world where you feel good.
Relatable, too.
Yes.
We both listen to podcasts, obviously.
Yeah.
And both have gotten so many great gems that we've, been able to implement into our lives.
Yeah.
And have seen firsthand how powerful someone's conversation can be.
How powerful their voice can be.
Exactly. And but if I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the podcasts that we listen to, they are inspirational but also aspirational. And
definitely,
it's sometimes harder to relate to some of our favorites because they are in completely different stages of their lives.
Of course.
With access to things that we don't have
at our fingertips
Exactly. But we're hopefully, opening those doors for ourselves. And what I find amazing about those people is that they are offering their knowledge freely.
Yeah, definitely. And that's so important when you're trying to do this.
Absolutely. So I'm grateful, beyond grateful for that, and that I'm using it as a tool to improve my life and hopefully help others do the same, because I think we all are deserving of that.
Of course. So Gabby, tell us a little about yourself.
Oh God. I feel like I'm at summer camp or something. But well, I'm Gabby. I am 28 years old and still getting it together, but here we are. No, I was born in Cape Town, South Africa. And I lived there for the first 8 years of my life. 8 to 9 years of my life. And then moved to New England in the middle of winter. I literally grew up 5 minutes from the beach. I mean, not in it wasn't bougie. It was definitely, I'm from a different place.
Yeah.
But,
and was it your first time seeing snow?
Yes. It was my first time on a plane ever.
Oh my gosh.
Ever. And it was the longest flight of my life.
Yeah.
Still to this day, it's still the longest flight I've ever taken. But yeah, it was winter and
wow.
I'd never seen snow before.
Did you like it?
It was just, I think I was just in shock the whole time.
You just cold?
Yeah, I just was like, wow, this is life. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 9 years old, tops 9. And it was the middle of the school year too. So the class was already established.
Everyone had their friends.
Yeah. And it's New England and no one, it was a predominantly white school too.
Yeah.
So
you just
I'm this
out of place.
African kid.
Yeah.
That
oh my goodness.
Also, yeah, it was confusing. My mom, there were a lot of changes because my mom got married And so we moved
Oh my
after that.
goodness.
So I was just getting her like used to the idea of her being married. So
So
it
a
was
lot
just-
changed
Yeah,
at
a
one
lot
time.
of changes at once. So yeah, I mean, I just had no choice but to like
Adjust.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I did, and I like established friends, and like my mom and I went to church there, so we established, you know, a little community, and
Of
it
course.
was, yeah, it was beautiful. And it was great for like 7 years, and then we moved again
Where'd you go next?
to Southern California.
Oh my
So, yeah, like it couldn't have been further
Yeah.
away.
And like totally opposite weather too.
Completely, which was amazing. I mean, I will admit, like, walking to school in like 3 feet of snow,
Was
or like
not fun.
walking to the bus stop in snow, like, was not fun.
Yeah,
at
I've never
all.
lived somewhere where it snowed that much.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
and I
hate snow.
moved before I learned how to drive, but I'm sure, like, as a teenager,
Yeah.
like learning how to drive in that weather, no, thank you. So we moved to LA, just outside of LA, and that was just a really confusing, weird time for me. I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16 years old. I wasn't like the best student, and we moved to a community that was like, A, it was very affluent, and B, it was like also really academically focused
Yeah.
and competitive.
Did you feel challenged?
Oh, absolutely. Like that was very challenging for me. So yeah, school I kind of like checked out almost
Yeah.
because it was really
Just
like at that
wasn't
point it
for
was
me.
like being in your freshman year of high school and then all of a sudden being dropped into like college.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the gap was that, and that I'm just like not academically inclined.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm smart just in other ways.
Yes,
okay?
of course.
Yeah, so that was wild. And then I got a boyfriend because
That's what you do.
yeah, I guess. And that turned into something that we could talk about in
Another episode.
yeah, way later. But yeah, it was just really strange. So LA was also another place that like it was a hard adjustment, and I adjusted, but my life was just definitely not the same from that point on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I stayed there until I was about 21, 22 years old, and then I moved up to Washington, where we
Good
are
old Washington.
now, and live outside of Seattle, and this is also a place that I had to adjust to, like,
Yeah, it's it's completely different from LA. Yeah, of course.
it's different. And like it's also the least diverse place I've ever lived in my entire life, and like I lived in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like New Hampshire is more diverse than Seattle. So yeah, it's been strange as like a black girl
Yeah,
in the world.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, but you know, I love it. It's home now, and yeah,
You got Bay here now.
exactly. Okay. Got a little family, and yeah, it's beautiful. So, and Bianca, I feel like I took a lot of airtime here.
Definitely my life is very relatable to yours, I
Yeah.
could say. So I was born in Bangalore, India, so it's like in the southern part of India. And life there was, well, I have like a few memories. I can't really remember much because I was really young. But I was there till I was 7, and I went to an American international school. So
Okay.
even though I lived in India, I had like all my classmates were from around the world.
Oh, nice.
And like,
That's incredible.
yeah, it was a really cool experience. And then my family immigrated to Canada. And so I lived in Vancouver, and
Yeah, that's like
It was
drastic.
very different. Because, like, for me, too, it was, like, the snow.
Yeah,
First time seeing snow.
right.
But it doesn't really snow out there as, like, as much.
Right.
So, it's like Seattle, right? So that was a little adjusting, too. I hate the cold. It is just not for me. I
Yeah,
love to be
I
somewhere
mean,
where it's, like, hot all year round.
We are from a
Like,
different
hot places. So, it's,
Yeah.
like, I do love the heat. Yeah, so moving to Canada was, like, I feel like it's who I am, like, because I don't really remember much
right.
from...
You were so young.
I was so young.
Did you speak English
Always.
before? Okay.
Yeah, I was
even
like-
at home
Yeah.
in India? Oh, wow.
So it was, I don't speak another language. I understand Tamil, which is, like,
Okay.
a South Indian language. But, like, I'm not the best. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot say anything, but,
Yeah.
like, you don't want to hear me say anything because I'm just, like, butchering words. But I can understand. So, but if people are speaking really fast, I'll struggle. I
Yeah.
need them to, like, slow it down. But, yeah, so I just speak English. And then I lived in Vancouver till I was 27.
Did you guys move around at all, or were you kind of in the same?
So when we first came to Canada, we lived in Surrey temporarily, and while my parents were adjusting because we had family there, and then we moved to Burnaby, and I lived in Burnaby until high school, and then I moved to Surrey, back to Surrey, and it's so weird because if you're from the lower mainland of Vancouver, it's like Surrey's like the hood
Okay.
as it's known. It's, oh my god, it's a joke.
That's
But
funny. I didn't know.
yeah,
Vancouver had a...
yeah, and like Surrey's like where all the Indians are at, so it's like, ooh, I fit in. But yeah, so I grew up there, and then I moved to Seattle this year because I got married.
Yeah.
And so yeah, love brought me to Seattle. But yeah, that's how I got here.
Yeah, that's so
That's
cute.
been the journey.
No, that's a crazy journey, but you also, I feel like you're missing a lot of things. Like, you don't just have a regular job.
Yeah. So I'm a flight attendant and
International.
yeah, an international flight
Okay.
attendant. No, we doing it. But
She travels the world. Okay.
been around the world, don't speak the language. For real. Yeah, no, I love my job. I definitely love my job. Being able to travel and stuff. Meeting new people, learning about like other cultures and stuff, that's always exciting. Being in Seattle and not being in Vancouver has been like different for me, just being like not having my friend group
Right.
and my family.
Yeah.
So that was a little like hard at first. Yeah, I could say, because it's like you now do the FaceTiming with your friends,
Right,
and you're so
yeah.
used to being able to just see them.
Yeah, and hang out.
Yeah. And it just kind of encouraged me to be like, all right, you need to make new friends. Like you have
Right.
to face it. You're in a city now, you have to make new friends. So how do people make friends at 27 years
Please.
old? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like your job's not here either. So
Right,
I'm not meeting
exactly.
people that are living in Seattle.
Right.
And I feel like I never really had to try to make friends because I like my job, most of my like the people I meet are my age, right?
And
so,
I'm sure, like, staying in the same area for as long as you did, you had
your
your
friends have just
community.
kind of stayed
Right,
there. Yeah.
Exactly.
But a girlfriend of mine was telling me about Bumble BFF, and I was like, isn't Bumble for like dating? And
Right.
she's like, no, like you can also use it to like make friends. Like they have like a networking option as well.
Yeah.
And like I like sat on the idea for a bit. I was like, but this is like so not me. And in terms of like meeting people online, like I skipped that. Like I met my husband like naturally,
Yeah.
I could say, like in person.
Right.
And
yes.
so
that was like, I feel like we've both been in long-term
Yeah.
relationships, and our relationships kind of started at the same time as
yeah,
the
like I
dating
was
apps.
like 22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When people were starting to meet on
Tinder.
I feel like that was
Yeah.
probably one of the only
Yeah, like
ones.
OK Cupid.
Yeah.
What were the other ones?
I don't remember, but we, like, people were still, it was still pretty normal to meet
people
in
just
person.
naturally.
Naturally. But yeah, so that whole experience.
Yeah, like I had a
know.
hard time like coming to terms with maybe you have to do this because you're not meeting people
Right,
naturally.
exactly.
So I tried it, and at first it was like, when do you make the move of meeting up? Like, when
Right.
is it too
Yes.
soon? And like trying to like figure
Yeah.
that out. But I was like, you know what, you just gotta be yourself, and like if you feel a connection with someone, like you'll plan something.
Right.
But I felt like I had like a few conversations going, but it's like after a couple days you're like,
Yeah.
what else do we talk about before we meet?
exactly.
And so then I met you.
Yeah, so I was on Bumble BFF as well. I think that's what it's like called.
Yeah.
And basically it's like after moving so much and like my life kind of being disrupted in these weird ways, I found myself like not really being able to hold on to friendships or even like go really in depth with people,
Yeah.
you know, because either I would move again or we would lose touch, or you know, life just separates us for whatever reasons. And I feel like after so many years of that, and just I think naturally I'm an only child.
Yeah.
I'm an Aries. So I'm just naturally like independent and alone. I'm introverted.
You
So-
enjoy spending time with yourself.
Exactly. So like being alone or just kind of doing things by myself wasn't weird or
Yeah, it was natural.
yeah, it was natural, but it definitely got to a point where I was like, because when I was a kid, I obviously had friends and like I was pretty outgoing and stuff, and moving so much, I think I just, without even realizing it, closed myself off from people, you know? And it's not really until being here, and I've been here for like over 5 years now.
Yeah.
So I think like having to like settle down in one place and having a boyfriend, a life partner that like is really rooted here. Like he has family here, friends.
He's a
here.
local.
He's yeah, exactly. He's like he's born and bred. So like having that stability kind of opened my eyes, and I'm like, wow, like I'm missing that. Like I don't have
want that. Yeah.
Exactly. And to be honest, I don't even know how to get it. Like how do I step out and like now all of a sudden like open myself up?
Of course, when you've been so in tune with yourself.
And not like in a healthy way either. Like, let's be honest. Like I had to be real and say like, you aren't like this just independent, like I don't need anyone, I can do everything on my own type of person. Like that's not who you are, and you're actually causing yourself a lot of harm and pain by doing that and being that way. So I had to be honest, I had to be real, and like I had to make those changes.
Of course.
And
you had to take the first step, of course.
Exactly. And I couldn't blame anyone for me not having like friendships, like not developing
because you didn't
friendships.
put that effort in.
Because I wasn't putting in the effort. So I got on Bumble, and I found myself in the exact same situation where I was just like chatting with all of these different women that were interesting, and we like had great conversation, but we wouldn't meet up. Like we wouldn't take that step. And it's so funny because it's like I feel like not having that masculine energy on there, you know, like the like moves aren't being made.
You're like, what is the purpose of this?
It's
like,
such a like feminine like driven place that like everyone just likes talking. We just like
you're just chit-chatting.
Exactly, you're just chit-chatting. So I was like, this is crazy. I am never gonna like actually make friends this way. I was like, I understand, because I I'm kind of nervous to have a like one-on-one.
Yeah, like how
like,
do you
blind
approach
date.
this blind date?
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's like, it's not a job interview, it's not a date, it's like
You're kind of selling yourself.
exactly.
But
you're like
yeah.
also like, we know we're judging each other too.
Of
'cause
course.
it's like, do I even want to be your friend?
Yeah,
Like,
because if you never talk to this person again, it's like they didn't like me.
exactly.
Or you
It's
didn't
we
like them,
clearly
yeah.
didn't get along. So that's intimidating, right? I
Yeah.
get it. So I was like, maybe if we get together as a little group, people will be more inclined to like
And
say
more
yes,
comfortable.
more comfortable, and that just like feels better. So I was like, everyone loves brunch. We all like,
Who doesn't love
exactly,
brunch?
mimosas. You got your like scrambles. It's delightful, right?
So good.
So I was like, let me like get a little group together and like go for brunch. And this is honestly, like, I don't know if the Holy Spirit smacked me in the head or something. Like, this is not me. I don't do this ever. Like,
I know, when you set that up, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, she's so organized this way.
Girl.
Like, I was like, she must do this a lot.
no, that was me putting in the effort, because I am not the person that's gonna like, especially get a group together.
Yeah.
Like, no. But I did, and it worked out, and like a few girls said yes. I was surprised.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great time, and we had great conversation, and like it was so funny. Everyone was like in really like
Different places in their
yeah,
lives.
but
like,
exciting places.
Yeah.
You had just gotten
Yeah,
married.
literally just got married. Like,
That's crazy.
I was married for like a week. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
I'm like,
not
yeah,
on
I
your
got married
honeymoon.
last week.
You're at brunch with us, okay?
Like, I need friends now. I'm married. Now I need to find
Yeah,
friends.
exactly.
Um,
Check. Another
yeah.
girl had gotten married and like had just started a business or something.
Yeah.
And then another girl was like,
Oh yeah,
announced-
she found out she was pregnant, like,
Yes.
and we were the first people to find out.
yeah, she hadn't told anyone, which was really like kind of cool.
It was
like,
kinda
special.
cool, yeah,
it
it
was
was-
a really great.
Like, I'll always remember that.
yeah, it was a really great brunch. So we never heard from those girls again.
We had a group chat going, and we were trying to plan a second meet, but no one responded.
It was literally like crickets
Yeah.
on the line.
It was
Except
like-
Bianca. Bianca was the only one.
Because I was serious about making friends.
Yes.
Like, I was going to have this
Exactly.
happen for me.
And
like,
me too, for sure. So we were like, well, I
Let's
guess
have a separate conversation
Yeah,
and
we're like-
not include these haters.
delete that group. And Bianca and I have just been like hanging out.
Yeah,
ever
we've
since.
like clicked, and it was weird because we literally just started a friendship, but then we just had this like idea together, this kind of
Yeah.
like vision that we both shared.
And this was literally the first time we hung out by ourselves.
Yeah.
So we had the brunch, and then a month later or something.
Yeah, I think it was like a month later.
Yeah, we had to like we met up again. So so we had the brunch. Sorry, so we had to cut out and had a little
Water break.
sorry about that. So if it sounds different, that's why. But yeah, we hung out the first time by ourselves
Yeah.
and kind of just like divulged everything.
Yeah, we had tacos and tequila, and then an idea came about.
Exactly. We kind of, after talking, we realized that we were both in the same space. We were both creative and like had tried things on our own before, and like
Just didn't have that support, or I don't know about support, but like maybe
for me it was just the like motivation
team.
to keep going, honestly, and just the focus, and like I lacked a lot of confidence in myself and my abilities, and like being able to like trust
that you can do it.
that I can do it, honestly. So I know that like I would start things and then stop, or
I'm like so
you know,
guilty
they would
for
just
that,
like
yeah.
fizzle out. And that was just like the cycles that
Yeah.
I'd gone through, and I think we kind of discussed a
Yeah.
little bit of that like during our lunch together and figured that we were kind of in the
same boat with that. And I think for us was being able to create something that was a community based,
right, exactly,
and that would bring women together, by educating them,
right,
and inspiring them, and being able to be yourself, in the process, and realizing that you're not alone in life's transitions and life's
feelings.
issues and anything you're faced in this world,
and you can overcome, because I think also one thing that we strongly relate to is that our paths haven't been like easy. We haven't,
there's been a few bumps along
a
the way.
lot of bumps, and we've dealt with a lot of darkness within ourselves, and like have been through mentally like certain things that have been challenging. So like,
and we want to be able to share
exactly
that.
And being real and honest about those things, but in a way that's like you can
overcome these things. Like that's the key.
It's not your story. That doesn't have to be your story.
It doesn't define you.
Absolutely not. And it's like you can it's a process. Like we're just starting this process. Like we're not, at, like we were saying earlier, we're not at the point, like starting a podcast now is a little weird because we're literally, we're very like, regular. Like,
it's like adjusting to the fact that you're recording your voice.
Yeah, we are just like, there's nothing, Instagram
about your voice,
or about us and like our lives. So
my
like,
life is very basic.
Exactly.
It's exciting to me. I don't know if the whole world would be
like we are starting this journey to build an exciting life because it's possible for everyone. So hopefully like you can learn and grow with us and building that community where we're supporting each other doing those things, because it's hard. Like when you decide to like, I'm gonna love myself. And
I can conquer anything.
Like people say that, but then they stop it there. They don't like carry on,
do the effort.
Exactly. Like with the story. The story doesn't just end with, okay, then I stood up and I like decided to like, be my best friend and like advocate for myself. Like that's a learning process.
Being your biggest fan.
The story doesn't end there. It's once you decide, you have to keep deciding every single day, and it's not easy. It doesn't change. It doesn't get easier. You have to, you cry a lot. You you journal. You take a lot of baths. You pray. Whatever you have to do, but you keep showing up.
Yeah.
And I think hearing people that are showing up currently that like who haven't crossed that threshold just yet, hopefully we can create a little support group and like rally around each other and like support in whatever ways we can
and showcase the women that have actually gone through those things and become so much stronger. And
because that's the goal. Like hopefully in a year, 2 years, 3 years, we can like look back and we are in a completely different place.
Of course, because I can even say that about myself now from like 3 years ago. Like
exactly. And like the the bigger or like closer your community is, like the more we can celebrate those victories. And hopefully like that's, I don't know, my goal here and why I want to speak to the women that we are going to be fortunate enough to speak to and like share the stories that hopefully we'll get to share on this podcast through other incredible women that are doing that and standing up for themselves and being their own advocate. And especially in the like women of color and like I'm Black, you're brown, and women, like we need that. Like we need those places, those like safe spaces where we can feel support
safe.
And like really stand up for ourselves and for each other so that this friggin' planet can like heal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. The podcast wasn't our first adventure together, I guess, or our concept of where we were trying to go, but so we started a blog.
Yes.
Really, you could call it a blog. And we were really fortunate to like meet women that were doing things and had overcome things. And
so Bianca and I have only known each other for
since March.
Yeah, March or April.
No, February.
Yeah, maybe February. So a lot has happened. In that like short amount of time. And we started a blog.
Yeah, and it was definitely the stepping stone. Like, I learned so much from that experience of where I wanted this whole thing to go.
Right.
And it's funny because we would always come back to the idea of a podcast.
Yeah. We were actually dodging it.
Yeah.
Like, we did not... I think there was a lot of resistance around it for a long time.
It was also a lot of not feeling confident in myself about it. But as time was going and like the more involved we got with the blog, the more I was feeling like I want to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And at the time too, I like that's all I would do was listen to podcasts.
Me too.
And so I still do, but at that time it was like the amount of time I was spending listening to podcasts, you'd be like, wow. It made a huge difference in my life, and it was something I was feeling like I want to be able to do this as well.
Yeah, and contribute.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we finally made the decision to do this.
Well, it was also out of many attempts to like make the blog and the Instagram work.
Yeah.
And just how much of a struggle that was for both of us at the time. Like, it was draining to just, and we didn't do much. Like, we have a few shoots that we've done. We have a couple of interviews that we did. Yeah. And women that have been gracious enough to like share their time with us, and their resources with us. But it was definitely a challenge. Like, we had many
we didn't have enough people working with us
and
too.
Like, it was hard, and it was like, I think you see these like beautiful images online, and you like read these beautiful blogs and things, and you don't really realize the effort and like the amount of work
is put into
it is put into just one image. Like, we have less than 100 pictures on our blog or on the page, and I mean, each shoot has at least 400 pictures.
Photos, of course. We were like going through photos like crazy.
Exactly. And you take 400 pictures in a day, then you have to like go through and, you know, trash the ones that are completely garbage.
Yeah.
And then, you know, pick the ones that we both agree on.
Yeah. And then edit. And then narrow down those photos.
Think about captions, think about scheduling, think about
hashtags.
Exactly. It was, and then on top of it, engaging and like liking and trying to build relationships and stuff. It was a very overwhelming.
Yeah. And I think for both of us, we can both agree that like out of that whole experience, the thing I enjoyed the most was actually the conversations.
Yes, absolutely.
With these women. And
that we would have in person when we, you know, connected or whatever, or went to their events, or were, you know, graciously invited to their homes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really cool and made us, like, keep going back to the podcast.
Yeah,
like,
kept coming back to the podcast. So we took a break, and we were still busy.
Yeah.
When we took a break, we didn't just like not talk about it anymore.
No.
We really were. We've been working on this and coming together with ideas every week, and it came down to actually recording now.
Yeah, exactly. And this is not our first recording.
Yeah,
we will
we've
be
done a
honest and
few.
frank. Yeah, we definitely And not for anything, because I don't think it's not like we sound like professional,
Yeah.
I'm sure, at this point. So we are learning and stuff, but it took some getting used to hearing yourself and speaking, and then also trying to be considerate and like thoughtful about what you're saying, because we don't want to be two random girls just like yapping about ourselves.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
that's not the point. And it's so tempting to get sucked into that, because Bianca and I talk all
the time.
Like, that's all we do. When we're together. We just talk. So of course, like, you press record, eventually you forget that you're like recording. So a lot of it sounded really silly, and like
it was just too natural of a conversation.
It's just too intimate.
Yeah. That should have not been recorded.
Yeah, but so that's why we're like, it's gonna take a little bit for us to get this together, and like,
it's never going to be perfect.
No.
Once you accept that, it's gravy from there.
Exactly. But that takes time.
Yeah. You can make it perfect in time, but it's not going to be right away.
Yeah, no. And just getting to the realization that it's not perfect, and you have to be okay with that, and like, be vulnerable, and like, put yourself out there in whatever way. It might not be your voice, it might be your paintings or your writing, or I don't know, the fact that you love to bake, like,
anything,
cookies, whatever it is. Like, it is vulnerable when you are offering that to the world,
of course,
or to 5 people, who knows,
anyone. Just offering it to somebody.
It's but you gotta do it. If you want that life, if you about that life,
of course. Yes.
We about that life.
About that life.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are too. So Bianca, when and where can you find us?
So we will be dropping a new episode every Monday, and you can find us on all major podcast hosting sites. Definitely Anchor is a big one.
Yes, shout out.
So we'll be based on Anchor, but you can also find us on all of the major podcast hosts. And so what are we going to be talking about?
So after all of that,
what will you be hearing every week?
Well, conversations with really interesting women doing cool, amazing things out here in the world, along with, personal little tidbits that we can offer about life, careers, relationships, and
being a woman.
Being a spiritual woman, being a Black woman, being an Indian woman, whatever we can offer. That's what we hope that this place can be, just a place to learn,
inspire,
and
build a community of women that can relate to us and our normal, regular lives.
Whoever you are, whatever you are, come as you are.
Yes. We accept you as you are.
Yes.
So we look forward to sharing this journey with each and every one of you.
Yes.
And thanks for listening to the first episode. Stay tuned for next Monday's episode, where we're going to talk about friendship and get more in depth of
navigating
our experience of our friendship and how we've gotten here in life with
our homies.
Our homies. Yeah.
All right.
So,
bye, guys.
Bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.